Well, some of you might find strange that I am talking about you are God. I am calling you God. Yes, you are God. I'll tell you in this video that how you are God also. At this point in time when this big astro event takes place, you are gonna realize that you are God. Yes, we all are God. What is in God is in us. That same soul which is in God is in us. God is a creator and we are creators as well. God created this world and we have created the things in this world. The buildings, the institutions, the companies, the mobile phone, the computer, car, airplane, etc., etc., etc. So God created his world and we are creating our world. Well, you can't create the entire world, but at least you can create your own world. Hence, I'm telling you that you are God and God has some bit of himself in you. By some bit, I mean that some bit of that soul in you. If you didn't have his soul, God's soul in you, then you wouldn't be a creator. My point is that you are creating something and God has already created this world. So God and us are both similar. We are cut from the same cloth. We are branches of the same tree. We have that same soul in us, a fragment of that same soul in us, which God has. So at this point in time, you are gonna realize that you are God. And this big astro event will make you realize that you are a creator, you are God, and you can also do things which God does. I mean, you'll be able to realize that you can create wealth, money, business, career, job, relationships, etc., etc., etc. Well, this is the big astro event which is gonna take place in the sky at this juncture. That is from the 15th of January 2024 until 18th of February 2024. This is the big event which is going to happen. You know, as you can see on your screen, that there is a horoscope which indicates that there are 8 planets in 6 consecutive houses from Scorpio to Aries sign. There are 8 planets in these 6 houses, these 6 signs from Scorpio to Aries. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces and Aries. So this is the big phenomenon which is gonna happen at this point in time, and this is the big event which is gonna happen and will make you realize that you are God, that you are a creator, that you have the power to do anything in this world. Well, you have the power to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Don't underestimate yourself at this point in time. You don't know enough about yourself to be a cynic. So you've got to challenge yourself at this point in time to access that power which you have within you. That power which God has given you, that part of God which is in you, which is all knowing, which is all powerful. You are gonna realize that you are more than a conqueror. Well, every event has a pro and a con to it. Every event has a disadvantage and advantage to it. So at this point in time, when you enter this time period, you need to remember that you are God, that you can create things. But you shouldn't belittle others at this point in time. You shouldn't run other people down at this point in time. You shouldn't disparage or denigrate people at this point in time. You shouldn't be arrogant at this point in time. Don't think yourself to be too much at this point in time and others to be stupid. No one is foolish enough to harm himself. No one is intelligent enough to benefit themselves. No one is stupid enough to destroy something. No one is sensible enough to build something. No one is silly enough to take a wrong decision. And no one is wise enough to take the right decision. Well, at this point in time, when this astro event takes place, if you think that you are doing good or bad for yourself, That is absolutely wrong. Don't think yourself to be too smart and others to be foolish. Well, the fact is that it is all happening. It all happens. You aren't doing it. It all happens. Well, this is the most stupid statement anyone can make, that when they say that I am doing it. Instead, give that credit to God. Destroy your ego. The planets, the stars, the constellation, the sun, all these planets and stars are making it happening. It is a happening. This life is a happening. So don't be arrogant at this point in time. I'd say that it's foolish to be arrogant at this point in time. It's foolish to turn up your nose. It's foolish to think that you've got it together. It's foolish to think that you are such a much. Because let me tell you that one incident in your life can tear things down. One event can rob you of your things which you are proud of. One incident can tear down everything which you have built. Well, you can use all your money, all your resources, all your education to build something, and that one incident in your life can tear everything down. One hurricane in your life can destroy your house. That hurricane can make you helpless. And one tornado, and you've got water not in your pool, not in that swimming pool, but in your house. So you shouldn't take anything for granted in your life. Don't take the gifts of God for granted in your life. Don't be proud of anything in your life, because one incident can bring you to your knees. It can make you cry. It can give you a lot of agony and trauma in your life. It can drive you back to drinking and make you smoke a joy. So at this point in time, instead of being arrogant, you need to stay humble. You know why the streams and rivers empty themselves in the ocean, in the sea? Because the sea is low. It stays humble. The sea stays humble and stays in that place where it allows everything to come to itself. To the sea, I mean. In spite of having all the water in it, it doesn't become arrogant. So at this point in time, you don't need to be arrogant. You shouldn't be arrogant. Not at this point in time or in the future. Events which happen in your life, you aren't doing them. They are being done. You aren't doing things. You are being done. It is a happening. Everything in this life happens. Well, one question I want to ask you, is breathing that something you do? No, absolutely not. It just happens. Is seeing or hearing something which you do? No, it happens. You aren't doing anything. Are you moving the rods and cones in your retina, in your eyes to see? No, you aren't doing that. It is a happening. So if you aren't doing anything and nothing is in your control, then why be proud of your things, your achievements, your accomplishments, the things which you have? It's all God's gift. Well, your breathing is happening, your thinking is happening, your feeling is happening. The clouds are happening across the sky. The sky is happening blue. The sun is happening shining. There it is, all this happening taking place in this world. And may I introduce this to you? This is yourself. Everything is happening in this world, including you. My point is that you aren't doing anything. You are being done. You aren't doing anything. You are being done by the stars, the planets, the God, whatever you want to call it. You are happening and it is a spontaneous occurrence. If you think that you are doing something and become arrogant in your life, then you are absolutely wrong. You are sadly mistaken. So don't ever think yourself to be smart or others to be stupid. People say and think that they have done something. They are absolutely wrong. It is a happening. Well, you need to realize at this point in time is that God is everywhere and God isn't doing anything. I mean, God is not doing things physically in this world, and yet God leaves nothing undone. I repeat that God is everywhere and is doing nothing. I mean, God is not doing things physically in this world. Yet God leaves nothing undone. Isn't this miracle? That the omnipotent God, the omnipresent God, the omniscient God is everywhere and is doing nothing, yet it leaves nothing undone. So you need to believe at this juncture that even your problems and difficulties, your predicaments, your ordeals are gonna be ended by God. You need to have absolute faith on God at this juncture. As everything is happening, your problems, your difficulties, your predicaments and ordeals are also gonna end. I mean, you are gonna see a miracle when this big astro event takes place in the sky. And everything in this world is perfect. The nature is perfect. The sky is perfect. The clouds are perfect. The rain is perfect. It comes at the right time. The sun is shining, is perfect. It rises at the right time. The sky, the ocean, the trees, all are perfect. So whatever happens, happens for the good. Whatever is happening for your good only. And whatever will happen for your good. So don't regret about the past. Don't worry about the future. The present is happening. So with this thinking and feeling in you, with this attitude in you, you need to enter this period of time when this big astro event takes place. When 8 planets are in the 6 houses. And don't try to control things at this point in time. Don't try to control your life at this point in time. Let life unfold naturally. Don't force things in your life. If a certain thing doesn't happen in your life in spite of your efforts, just leave it. Leave it to God. Let it happen naturally. Let it unfold naturally. Trying to control anything will lead to ruin. Suppose if you take water in your hand, if you try to hold it, it will never stay there. It will flow out of your hand. So don't try to control things at this point in time. Be soft with things at this juncture. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try. Yes, you should try, but don't try to go out of your way to do certain things at this juncture. And if certain things don't happen in your life, remember, as I told you, that everything is perfect in this world and whatever is happening for your good. You know, when we breathe in, we breathe out. When we inhale, we exhale. So this itself is perfect. When we breathe in, our body doesn't forget to breathe out. And God has set aside a time for us. Everything has its time. There is a time for being ahead and there is a time for being behind. A time for being in motion and a time for being in rest. A time for being vigorous and a time for being exhausted. A time for being safe and a time for being in danger. A time for wins and a time for losses. And everything which is happening in our life is taking us towards perfection. And we really don't know if a good event will take us towards something good or a bad event will take us towards something bad or something good. We can never say how a good event will play out or a bad event will play out eventually. You have all known cases that some sort of a ridiculous inconvenience or accident preserved you from a worse one. Or that same event made you meet somebody and made you fall in love with that person. You will never know the chain, the pattern, the connection between events. What you think may be a good thing for you may be good for the short term and may turn out to be disastrous in the long run. Well, you see, the whole process of nature is an integrated process with immense complexity. And it is really impossible to tell anything that happens is good or bad. Because you never know what would be the consequences of a misfortune or the consequences or results of a good fortune. You can never know that. This is a mystery which God has kept to himself. So don't complain, moan or groan, murmur at this point in time if something untoward happens at this juncture. I mean during this astro event. So all we need to do is make our efforts, do the hard work and keep progressing in our life. Well, to substantiate my point, I want to tell you all a story. There was a farmer in a village who stayed with his son. And one day, his horse, the farmer's horse, ran away. And that very evening, the neighbors came around and told the farmer that it's a very bad thing which has happened. Your horse has run away. The farmer replied, maybe. The very next day, that horse which had run away came back with 7 more wild horses. And the neighbors came around that same evening and told that farmer, isn't that wonderful that you have 7 more horses in your stable? And the farmer replied, maybe. The very next day, the farmer's son was trying to tame one of those wild horses and he was thrown off. And that farmer's son broke his leg. The neighbors came around again in the evening and told the farmer that this indeed is a very bad news, that his son got injured. The farmer said, maybe. The next day some conscription officers came and they were supposed to choose some people for the army. And those conscription officers rejected the farmer's son because the farmer's son was injured. The neighbors came around again in the evening and said that this is something very good that has happened, that the farmer's son wasn't chosen for the army. And the farmer replied, maybe. So you see, some good things happened in this story and some bad things happened in this story. And some bad things were leading the farmers to something good. And some good things were leading the farmer to something bad. So you can never know what's gonna happen in the future, how things are gonna shape up in the future. No one knows that. So whatever happens to you at this juncture when this astro event takes place, you don't need to be disturbed or you don't need to be excited at this point in time, because one thing you just need to remember is that whatever will happen for your good only. Well, you see that life is a mystery. And if you take the mystery from your life and everything was certain in your life, then you wouldn't be needing faith. Faith functions best when you don't know. And if you knew everything beforehand, you'd have no room for faith, no room for discovery, no room for innovation. Because creativity comes in uncertainty. So God often puts us in position where we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, in order to destabilize us from relying too much on what we know. So at this point in time, you need to go with the flow of life and don't think yourself to be too smart or too foolish at this point in time. Let life unfold naturally. Well, this is all I wanted to tell you all about this big astro event which is gonna take place in the skies from the 15th of January 2024 until 18th of February 2024. Well, like I always say, that if you wish to know your future through astrology and you are determined to live the best possible version of yourself, well, one must always try to live his or her best version of themselves, because there is only one life to live. There are no duplicates of a life. You will never get a chance to live this beautiful human life once again. And if you want to enhance your luck in your life, if you want to boost your luck in your life, if you want to increase and improve your luck in your life, then I want to tell you all, I have several remedies for you. You know, these remedies which I'm talking about are a fusion of astrological remedies, Vastu remedies and spiritual remedies which can be utilized by any person of any religion. And if you want me to pray for you, because prayer can move mountains. So if you want me to pray for your health, wealth, success, money, business, career, job, relationships, love relationships, marriage, married life, children, property, education, etc., 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 then also you may contact me. You may also contact me for a Vastu instrument. This Vastu instrument can solve all your Vastu problems of your home, office or factory. And if you are hell-bent on taking your life from the ridiculous to the sublime, from the low point to the high point, from nothing to something, then you may contact me over WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number has been given on this video. Have a great day and a great life ahead. God bless you all. Jai Mata Di. Jai Ma Kali.